The model that dropped last week did not take anyone's job, but it quietly made about a dozen job tasks cheaper to outsource. That gap matters more than the headline, and by the end of this, you will know exactly how to read a new AI release the way someone in your position should be reading it. Every few weeks now, there is an announcement. A new model, a new benchmark, a new capability demo. The coverage splits into two camps. The tech press says it changes everything. The reassurance crowd says don't worry, humans are irreplaceable. Both are wrong in the same direction. They are talking about jobs as a whole, and your vulnerability does not live at the job level. It lives at the task level. Here is the frame that actually helps. Your job is not one thing. It is 30 or 40 discrete tasks you perform repeatedly. Some of them require judgment built over years. Some of them are pattern recognition dressed up as expertise. And a new model release is not a pink slip, it is a price signal. It tells the market that a specific category of task just got cheaper to perform without you. Let me give you a concrete example of how this works in practice. In early 2023, a mid-sized marketing agency in Chicago had 4 people whose primary job was writing first draft copy, campaign briefs, email sequences, social content. Their salaries averaged around $80,000 each. When GPT-4 dropped, the agency did not fire them immediately. What they did was stop hiring replacements when one person left, then a second. Within 18 months, that function was handled by one person using AI tools, and the other 3 roles were gone not through layoffs, through attrition nobody announced. The model release was not the event. The price signal it sent was the event. So the first skill worth building right now is the ability to read a release note the same way a quiet investor reads a market move. Not emotionally, not reactively, analytically. When a new model comes out, you are looking for 3 things specifically. First, what category of task did the benchmark improve on? Not the marketing language, the benchmark. If it improved on coding and reasoning, that affects one set of roles. If it improved on document summarization and multilingual output, that affects a completely different set. Second, what is the cost per task now versus 6 months ago? API pricing is public. The cost of processing 10,000 words of analysis has dropped by roughly 80% in 2 years. That is not abstract, that is the economics of your department changing under your feet. Third, what does the demo show someone doing that used to require a professional? The demo is the thesis statement. Take it seriously. Now here is what nobody tells you about these releases, and this is the part most professionals miss entirely. The danger zone is not the task you obviously do. It is the task you do that you have started calling something else. The financial analyst who spends 4 hours a week pulling data from reports and reformatting it into a slide deck has started calling that task strategic communication. The HR manager who writes the same 7 types of employee communication over and over has started calling that talent engagement. The layer of language you have built around a routine task is not protection. It is a blind spot. The useful exercise, and you can do this today, it takes about 20 minutes, is to write down every task you performed last week. Not your job title, not your responsibilities as listed in your contract. The actual things you did, hour by hour, on Tuesday. Then for each one, ask a single question. Could someone with no background in my field produce a passable version of this output using a current AI tool, even if it needed editing afterward? If the answer is yes, that task is in the migration zone. You are not going to lose your job because of it tomorrow. But over a rolling 18-month window, that task will be worth less as a core argument for your compensation. The professionals who are actually building leverage right now are not the ones running from this. They are the ones doing something specific with the information. They are identifying the 2 or 3 tasks on their list where the answer to that question is a clear no, where the work requires institutional knowledge, relationship context, ethical judgment, or accountability that cannot be abstracted away. And then they are deliberately moving their time and their professional identity toward those tasks, not by asking for a new title, by doing the work and making the output visible. There is a second move worth making, and it is counterintuitive. Learn to use the tool that just got released. Not because it will make you AI-proof that framing is a trap, but because a professional who can operate a new capability becomes the person who sets the terms of how that capability gets used in their organization. The person who is still skeptical while their colleague is already running experiments is not taking a principled stand. They are ceding the decision-making to someone else. And in most organizations, whoever shapes the implementation of a new tool shapes who is essential to the workflow it creates. I want to be specific about what this looks like in practice. When a new model drops with improved reasoning or longer context windows, the useful response is not to read the press coverage. It is to spend 90 minutes with the actual tool running it against a real piece of work you do. A real report you have written, a real analysis you have run, a real communication you have drafted. Test where it fails. Test where it surprisingly succeeds. That 90 minutes will tell you more about your actual exposure than 6 hours of reading takes on the subject. Here is the distinction that matters most heading into the next 12 months. There is a difference between a task being automatable and a task being automated. The gap between those two is where professionals either build their next 5 years or quietly lose them. Automatable means the technology can do it. Automated means someone in your organization has decided to make that substitution. The releases you are seeing right now are expanding the automatable category rapidly. The automated decisions follow organizational inertia slowly and then suddenly. To borrow the phrase, your window to reposition is not after the automated decision. It is now, while the gap still exists. So when you see a headline next week about a new model, skip the takes. Pull up the release notes. Find the benchmark. Find the demo. Ask what category of task just moved. Give it 20 minutes of your actual analytical attention. That habit, practiced consistently, is worth more than any single tactic or tool recommendation. It is the habit of someone who is not surprised. And being unsurprised in a market moving this fast is its own form of job security. If you want to know specifically how exposed your current role is, there's a free audit linked below. It walks you through your actual task profile and flags where the real risk sits. It takes about 10 minutes, and it will give you a clearer picture than any headline will.